If you could do anything that a spider could do, what spider ability would you want?
I'd like to climb walls. If this is just picking just one, right?
Yeah, just one.
Yeah, I want to climb walls.
But if you only get climb walls, do you also get the proportional strength to pull yourself up a wall?
I'd assume so.
I don't know, because if you're only getting one spider ability, I feel like those are two separate spider abilities. So you'd be there like, oh, I can hold on, but fuck, my arms really hurt. This is a lot of climbing.
I don't know.
realize
I feel like
this
you'd
would
only
be so...
need reasonable strength to hold yourself up.
I think
Like
you
I could work out
you-
and get that muscle.
No, you wouldn't.
If it was a matter of, hey, if you just work out, get a bit of muscles, then you can climb fucking walls. I'd be like, okay, that's something I'd be willing to do.
If you work out and put in a little bit of effort, you can do like a backflip or a flying kick. You can do all these amazing things with your body. You don't work out and you don't do those things, even though you could.
But if I had, the ability to climb walls and I needed strength to complement that, I would.
Nah, you wouldn't. You'd do exactly the same thing you do these days. You'd play The Witcher.
Shut up.
Welcome back to the PCMR podcast, where we talk about movies, TV shows, video games, comic books, and other things that don't matter, because nothing matters and we're all going to die one day.
Woo!
Woo! This week's a movie review episode.
Yeah,
Movie review.
What a movie we're reviewing.
It's Spider-Man, of course. It's the
he's
friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
his long-awaited introduction. Well, not his introduction, but his first movie in the Marvel
Solo
Cinematic-
MCU debut. This is the 6th Spider-Man movie we've had this century.
Yeah. Wow.
It started 2002, and 2004, 2007, and 2011, and 2015, 14. Was it 15 or 14?
I thought the first Amazing Spider-Man was 2012, and 2014 was the number 2. I thought.
Was that the same year as Avengers?
Maybe.
Maybe.
I
think
don't know. I
it'll-
didn't pay that much attention.
Was either... Anyway, we've had a lot of them.
There's been a few.
This is the third reboot of a cinematic Spider-Man.
Yeah.
We've seen so many different Spider-Mans. We've had Tobey Maguire. We've had Andrew Garfield. Each have had their strengths and weaknesses. Now,
I've always said I feel like Tobey Maguire really got being Peter Parker, but his Spider-Man, he didn't have enough charisma as Spider-Man. He wasn't, quippy enough.
yeah.
Then Andrew Garfield was like the complete opposite. He was, as Spider-Man, he was very quippy, he was very witty, funny, like Spider-Man's meant to be, but he was just way too cool to be Peter Parker.
He was too cool for school in those movies.
Yeah, like, you got a bit of the nerdy vibe. Like, he was a cool nerd. Like, Peter Parker's not meant to be a cool nerd.
And even though, like, we've had films that have been set with him in high school before, they've always looked like grown-ass men.
Yeah, just like 30-year-old Andrew Garfield and like 25-year-old Emma Stone
Yeah.
put into high school.
It's always been a little weird, but that's like kind of like trends we've seen in movies for ages, where people in like their mid-20s playing 16-year-olds, and you're always just like, I don't remember going to school with anyone who was 6'7" and jacked.
Yeah, Emma Stone's dad in those movies looked like he was no more than 10 years older than her.
Oh, what? No, that guy looks ancient. What are you talking about?
Oh, he doesn't look that
The
old.
cop?
Yeah, I'm remembering.
He looks like He looks like Willem Dafoe. He's got wrinkly face. He looks like a witch.
I don't know.
In a man's body.
Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong person.
You might be thinking of the wrong person. I'm trying to think of what his name is. It's escaping me right now. But
Doesn't
as
matter.
I remember him,
Doesn't matter.
looks like an old man.
Doesn't matter.
Leathery face. Clearly much younger than him. Like, I would say he almost looks too old to be a dad. Looks like a grandfather.
Maybe I am.
Or like a creepy uncle.
I don't know. Maybe I am thinking of the wrong person. Who
You
knows?
might be. Anyway, we're not talking about the Amazing Spider-Man movies.
No.
Or just
Because
the
they were.
Spider-Man movies.
I wouldn't call them amazing.
No, I feel like they have their highlights that people seem
They have
to...
their strengths.
They have their strengths. People seem to forget them. But overall, those movies are a mess. And they try too hard to ape what Sam Raimi did with his films. It just felt like we were treading the same ground over and over again, and we were never going to get a new and interesting Spider-Man story. And so this is the opportunity that we're walking into with Spider-Man Homecoming. You're walking in hoping, all right, you're in the MCU. It's a large world. You've got a villain we haven't seen on the screen before, the Vulture. You've also got these side characters. Some could get a little worried, saying, "Oh no, you've got these other characters coming in here. Do you have too many villains?"
Not really. I wouldn't say that because like the other villains, kind of like.
Yeah, but walking in without knowing anything about it, just seeing like, "Hey, this person is the Shocker. This person is the Vulture. This person is the Scorpion. This person is the Prowler." You'd be like, "That's a lot of people. How are you going to handle all of this?"
They handled it well. It made sense how they did it.
So let's talk about the movie. Let's say a little bit about the plot. So the movie,
the second trailer.
It's set about 2 months after Civil War. Peter Parker's come back.
I thought it said it was 8 months. I don't know.
No. It was 2 months. There was an 8-year gap between.
That's the
intro
8
thing.
I was getting.
But after Civil War, it's about 2 months set after Civil War. So a lot of things have gone down. Spider-Man, got to make his big superhero debut. He fought alongside Iron Man. He was fighting against Captain America. He was fighting alongside all these titans of the superhero world. And then he has to come back to being a
Queens,
a little kid from Queens. And he's a bit antsy. He's a bit like, when's
he just did something huge.
He keeps asking,
he blew his load a bit early. If you
keeps asking Tony Stark and Happy Hogan, Jon Favreau, making his return.
He played quite a bit of a role in this. Like I think it's the biggest role he's had.
It's not the biggest role. I think Iron Man 3, he had a pretty decent role in that one. This is like probably his second biggest role, I'd say.
I'd argue it at least like on par with Iron Man 3.
Well, he didn't really have a subplot. He was just like, he was an exposition and he walked around. You got to have some cool scenes. But like in Iron Man 3, he had his own subplot. He had his thing that he was doing.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Yeah. So, he's constantly trying to contact Tony Stark. Hey, when's my next mission? I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I'm the Spider-Man. I've got your cool suit. I'm ready to go. But Tony Stark's a little hesitant. He was a bit brash, bringing him into that whole Civil War thing. But now, now that he's had some time to think about it, some time to, assess the situation, what he did in Civil War is like, that was a little crazy bringing in a 15-year-old kid. He
did well though. Like he took down Giant Ant-Man.
He did pretty well, but yeah, he's like, I'm a little, maybe just like stick to saving your neighborhood.
Your way
Be
up.
a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and he's doing that. He's giving it a crack at red hot go. He's having a crack, but he's antsy. He wants some adventure, wants some excitement.
See, he went from fighting other superheroes to just someone stole a bike. Ooh.
Yeah, and sometimes he's not like, he'll see some guy breaking into a car, he'll stop him, but then that guy's breaking into his own car. He just locked his keys in there.
But surely that guy breaking into his own car knew what it looked like.
He was surrounded by some buildings. He was near his apartment. He didn't realize some spider guy was going to jump down and web his hands.
If you're breaking into your own car, like I've had to do that before. When I was a kid, Mum locked her keys in the car and we had to break into the car.
Yeah.
When you're doing it, you know what it looks like.
That's true, but like he wasn't expecting someone to jump up down from the sky. Like if someone walked up and said, "Hey, are you breaking into the car?" It's like, "No, it's my car. I locked my keys in there. I'm just trying to get up." But he's ready for that conversation. He's not ready for.
Okay, we are back after we had a dog walk on the keyboard. I'm not going to move that away from him where he can't get it, actually.
Yeah, why don't you put that up higher? That's right on a dog's path.
Yeah. So where were we? He wasn't expecting a Spider-Man.
No. Yeah. So we're talking about the plot. So yeah, he's getting
Spider-Man.
antsy. He wants another chance to prove himself, to say, "Hey, I want to be an Avenger." He wants to be an Avenger. And then he gets an opportunity. He sees a bank robbery. He goes to stop it. Oh, what was this? These guys have crazy weapons. Where are they getting them from? Enter bloody Michael Keaton as the Vulture.
And he was great.
He's great in this movie. There is a fear going in that, oh, okay, so we're in the MCU. The MCU is traditionally not super great with villains. Every now and then they get it right, but most of the time they ignore him a little too much. Here, I think Michael Keaton definitely got enough that you got a sense of his character, you got a sense of what he was about.
Something what they don't usually do in Marvel movies, where they endeared us to the villain a bit. So we can, even though he's always very much, you can see that he's not a good dude. Spider-Man should be fighting him, but at the same time, it's like, you can see where he's coming from a little bit.
I liked it that it wasn't the usual thing we get with Spider-Man villains in previous movies. In previous movies, what are you getting? It's some guy who's like, he's a scientist, and then a science experiment goes wrong. Or it's some criminal steps into a sand experiment. Oh no, he's a Sandman now.
Yeah.
This was a guy who made a purposeful decision. He didn't go crazy. He didn't snap.
No,
some shit got thrown his way, and he dealt with it the best he could.
He dealt with it the best he could, and maybe he didn't deal with it the best way.
Not the best way, you know.
But he dealt with it.
He dealt with it. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
He's not out there not dealing with his problems. He's dealing with them.
I don't know why we're
but
being
dealing with them.
so secretive about this. Everyone pretty much knows. He was basically, before Tony Stark set up
Not
damage
everyone
control,
knows. Let's.
pretty much in the trailers.
It's not entirely in the trailers. Some people might
literally
not have seen all the trailers, like me. I only saw two or three trailers.
So you're saying that it's dog farted again?
Well, just don't smell it. What are you smelling it for?
Oh, don't breathe through your nose, Brett.
Yeah, breathe through
What are
your
you
mouth.
doing? Breathe through your nose like an amateur.
Yeah, amateur hour over here.
Mouth breather.
And yet, what's this? Don't have to smell a thing. Just
I was trying to make like a subtle Stranger Things reference, but okay.
Well, that was too subtle for me. All right, turn your subtlety gain a little bit up, because
I don't know how I
I'm
can
all the
make
way
that
over
reference any more non-subtle, but okay.
It's not some. I don't remember that specific detail from Stranger Things. I remember a lot of things, not that strange thing.
Well, she said mouth breather. It was like one of the few lines she had in the whole show. That and waffles.
That's true. Maybe if you said Eggo waffles, Lego my Eggo.
Egos. Lego my egos.
Okay, now I smell that.
See, he's letting some rip.
That is that's potent.
Yeah, your dog is who?
Jesus, dog, what have you been eating?
Dog, get out of the cables. Yes, we're
Get
recording
down.
with a dog in the room. This is gonna.
Yeah, that's
He's gonna come up in
the
conversation.
special third co-host. Toby, do you have anything to say about the movie?
Toby, come on.
Yeah, my dog.
Say it's your dog. You don't act superior that he came up to you.
All right, where were we? Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
I was complaining that you're not letting me talk about things that are in the trailer.
Yeah, let's not be like Sony. Let's not overmarket this movie. We're just here to talk non-spoilers first, then we'll get into spoilers.
Okay.
Yeah. Now we've talked so Vulture comes in, and he, Michael Keaton really gets a chance to act in a couple of scenes. We get to know this character before we see him tangle with the Spider-Man.
Yeah. I really like that lately we're seeing Michael Keaton in like more movies again.
He's acting quite a bit these days, and
I feel
it's
like
good.
he had a lull for a bit, but I feel bad saying that because I actually remember watching an interview with Mark Ruffalo because they were in Spotlight together.
Oh yeah.
And like apparently they walked home together one day because they lived in the same direction. And like he was just talking to him because he like, always admired him growing up. So.
Yeah.
And Mark Ruffalo goes to him, I've really loved this like renaissance you've been having lately to Michael Keaton. And then Michael Keaton says to him, I wasn't aware that I went anywhere. I wasn't aware that I stopped acting. So like Mark Ruffalo just totally insulted Michael Keaton right to his fucking face. And apparently that was like right at the beginning of like their half an hour walk together. I know, that just sticks in my head because it's funny. I remember it.
I mean, I don't know. He's got to be a little aware.
Yeah.
Probably not, but I feel like he should be made aware. It's good that someone made him aware of that. Like,
and if there's someone
hey, you're doing real good right now. I wasn't before. We're not talking about that. We're talking about right now.
Yeah.
And right now is
and
real good.
And if it's going to be anyone that says that to him, why not make it be Mark Ruffalo? He's great as the Hulk. He was great in Spotlight. He was great in Shutter Island. And that's all I've seen him in.
He's been in other things.
I don't remember what else he's been in.
He's been in other things. I haven't seen them all, but he's been in other things. He
I
was in.
don't doubt he's been in other things, but
He was in Now You See Me. He was in those films.
No, I didn't see them.
I saw the first one. It was partly okay. But we're not talking about Mark Ruffalo. We're not talking about
I like
Now
Mark
You See
Ruffalo,
Me.
though.
He's all right. But we're
Anyway.
talking about the Spider-Man. So we've talked about the plot. Now, is the film good? That's the question. I mean, you probably.
Are we doing a short answer or a long answer? I mean, it's a podcast, so we should probably do long answer.
Well, let's do short answer explained with long answer.
Short answer, yes.
Yeah, it quite possibly might be my favorite Spider-Man movie.
Yeah,
Actually, no,
I'm
is.
pretty certain.
I'm pretty
it is.
certain it is. Like,
But the first two Sam Raimi ones are pretty strong.
Not recently, but a while ago, I tried to rewatch Spider-Man 2. It did not hold up for me.
See, that's the thing. I feel like in their day they were really great.
In their day, they're really good, but you go back and you watch those,
doesn't hold up.
they are so cheesy.
What is Toby eating, or is he just licking?
He's just
around?
licking his paws. He's just cleaning his hands.
Okay, I thought he was eating something. Like, what did he get?
He's just washing himself. Don't be paying attention to that. We're talking about Spider-Man. Stop getting distracted.
There's a cute doggo.
Yeah, he's a cute doggo, but he's doing his own doggo thing. We're talking about Spider-Man. Stop getting distracted.
I'm a very distractible person.
You are a very
Anyways,
distractible person.
Spider-Man, it was good.
It was good. It was good. I quite enjoyed it. It's definitely, I'd say, my favorite Spider-Man movie. As I was saying, the Sam Raimi ones, well, they were really good in their day, and I remember really enjoying the first one, and I remember enjoying the second one at the time. But going back to them, I found that, well, the first one has a certain cheesiness that sort of works for
I
it.
feel like the
Works in
Green
its
Goblin
favor.
was really menacing in the first one. I feel like
That's just Willem Dafoe. Willem Dafoe is a menacing man. I'd say I've seen like images of like what Stan Winston and like their kind of effects company were doing for like this alternate Green Goblin costume, which would have been like an animatronic face that moved around a bit, and I would have preferred that than what they went with like the Power Ranger suit thing, Green Goblin.
the suit was a little bit.
It was a little bit.
But you know,
And the mask, actually, now that I think
it
about
was
it,
really good for the time.
the mask never made any sense to me. Like, this was like a government contracted thing that he was making. Like, the glider was like, oh, we're doing this for the military. Why the big old grinning scary mask? What part of the design process were they like, oh yeah, we'll make this big old scary mask for the suit?
Yeah.
I'm like, why? Like, what do you mean why?
To scare.
To scare people. It's
scary, spooky.
It's a glider that shoots missiles that
That's scary.
you don't need a scary mask. But I don't know. If it was like an animatronic
Spooky.
thing, it could have made it so that like, I made this, and like he moves it with his face or something. It's some thing he puts on. But the mask makes no sense to me. Anyway, that's beside the point. We're not talking about that.
Yeah. See, I really love Tom Holland as Spider-Man because I feel like he's the first one to nail both aspects of
Yes,
Spider-Man.
he's different. Like, you got that sense a little bit in Civil War, but really, he really
of him as Peter Parker to make that sort of.
there was
judgment.
enough for you to think, I think this kid could be a good Spider-Man. It was a
There
lot
wasn't
of
enough to make like, the final definite judgment.
no.
call,
This is
though.
like, he is my favorite Spider-Man.
Because I remember seeing an interview with him the other day, and he said pretty much he got cast as Spider-Man, and 2 weeks later he was flying to the filming of Civil War. So like that was quick. So maybe some of the acting choices he went in that wouldn't have carried through, but it seems like they all did.
He seems like he made some good choices, and I feel like he's gotten more comfortable in the role. He's made he's had like more different scenes and different emotions he's had to play with this Spider-Man.
Well, he got
than he
to
did in
make
Civil
a more
War.
full character.
Yeah, he's a more
he
fully
had-
rounded character.
He didn't really have any character development in Civil War, But in this, he had to have character development. The fucking film was named after him, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, I want to make some commentary. This Spider-Man is like the first one that's felt like he's set in a place like Queens, and like that kind of his neighborhood felt like a character, and it was like
The city had life.
they like explored a lot of things that they haven't explored in other Spider-Man movies. I feel like this film managed to pull off, which is a very difficult balance thing to pull off, like respecting the character and portraying him really accurately and well, and putting a lot of love into it, but also having fun with the character and putting him in situations that you don't usually think about when you're watching these movies, because
Well,
all these
that's something Marvel generally just does really well in all the characters. It develops the character well, it builds the character well, but it also has a bit of fun with them and shows you how fun those characters can be. And I think that's why Marvel has really became the superhero powerhouse that it has, because it's like, here's the serious parts of this character, here's the fighting and the seriousness, but here's a bit of fun with them. Because we want you to have a good time in our movies.
There's this is definitely like the movie that I feel the MCU has needed. Like, so much of these MCU movies, they're big, they're larger than life. You can feel like you get a little too much away from the people on the ground.
Yeah.
And Ant-Man did that a little bit. You know, there was a little bit of that. Hey, it's an everyday kind of guy, but
he still wasn't as much of an everyday guy, because he was still pretty.
He'd had a lot of life experiences. Where, like, this is a kid. We haven't followed in an MCU film how a kid is reacting to all this kind of superhero worship, and seeing
we
from
just saw like a whole different part of the world.
Yeah,
like how like the setting of a high school in this world, what it's like being in a high school there. Like, you know, Captain America on these instructional tapes. It's a thing in this world.
Yeah,
so they're celebrities. Superheroes are celebrities.
They are celebrities, and I feel like even though we've had, like, you know, that ground level kind of New York thing with Daredevil and Luke Cage and all that, this is a different side. Like, that's Harlem, that's Hell's Kitchen. This is Queens. We haven't seen Queens. You know, New York is a big character in the Marvel universe, so it's nice to get all these kind of different boroughs.
Yeah, the different
neighborhoods.
Neighborhoods. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. It was a nice kind of angle on the MCU that you don't usually see. And, you know, you got to do a lot of different things here with Spider, because every other Spider-Man film, it's Manhattan, it's big buildings, he's swinging down canyons, it's always swinging about. Here, it felt like smaller.
It always kind of felt like New York in the other ones. This one definitely felt like it was just a certain place.
Yeah, you felt like, you know, it was smaller. You know, he hadn't, you know, been up really high on a building yet. You know, this is a Spider-Man who's like, he's swung around, you know, local neighborhoods, but he hasn't gone for like a giant, really tall thing. Like, when he gets up really high somewhere, he's nervous. He's like, oh, this is really high up, actually. I've never done this before. This is a bit weird. Yeah.
So, there was this one scene in the movie where it was very reminiscent of a scene in The Amazing Spider-Man, which very much was exactly what I talk about when I mean the difference between them. Because there's a scene where Andrew Garfield asks Emma Stone out, and it was painfully awkward. Like, painfully awkward. But they had a very similar scene in this movie, like, and it was to like the same setting. I feel like it was done in the same
setting.
Place. But like, and it was
awkward, but it was an awkward sincerity to it. It wasn't this kind of like, oh, too cool for school, awkward, you know, kind of like each other. This was an awkward kid dealing with someone who was a little bit more sure of themselves. They were still a nerd, like, because she's the leader of like the decathlon academia.
Yeah, so she's smart.
Team. So she's smart. She's a smart lady.
Pretty smart lady.
Very smart lady. And she's kind of noticed that this kid has a crush on him, but, you know, she's a little like, I don't want to presume, and like, if I approach him, I feel like I'll break him. I need him to come to me so he won't just freak the fuck out.
Yeah,
and, you know,
and like, you get hints throughout the film before that point that she's into him.
Yeah, she's dropping some hints, but he's, you know, Peter Parker, he's a genius, and he's got that spider sense, but he's a little bit of an idiot.
He's not good with.
He's not good with the
people.
ladies. Yeah,
people.
You know, he's okay with people, but he's not. He's awkward. He's an awkward kid.
But yes, it's just the difference between the Tom Holland being awkward with him and Andrew Garfield. Because Andrew Garfield was very much like, he wouldn't look her in the eyes, or just looking away and talking like this, like you hardly hear a word of what he was saying.
Yeah,
I was going to continue that for the whole sentence, but it would have gone on too long if I did it for the whole sentence.
I feel like this movie was also much more focused than other Spider-Man movies have been. Like, everything kind of revolved around a similar plot. All the threads were connected in a very kind of seamless way, which is especially Amazing Spider-Man 2, which was all over the place. You know, there's that mystery with regarding his parents, and then there's also this thing going on with Electro, and then at the same time there's also the thing going on with Harry Osborn. It was muddled.
It was like there was 3 different movies,
Mm.
and they so half-heartedly intertwined them right in the 3rd act.
Yeah. Everything here is Peter has like a central goal. He's doing that one thing, and then there are plot elements that weave in and out of that
Yeah.
central thing.
And there are some
but
plot
he's always
elements that you don't
focused.
realize have anything to do with each other
Mm.
until they do have things to do with each other.
Yeah.
I feel like that doesn't give it away. That
No,
doesn't
no,
give
no.
anything away.
No. But yeah, he's like, it's so strange and like wonderful how they've managed to like show you his like high school life and have like enough Spider-Man stuff that you're not sitting there going like, oh, when's he gonna be Spider-Man again? Because he's always doing something interesting, or there's always something interesting going on. Now, how did you feel about Ned Lee's his kind of best friend character in this film?
I liked him. I liked that he had a friend who kind of knew he was Spider-Man from the very beginning of the film.
The only problem I really have with Ned for me is that he is basically Genki, who's Miles Morales' best friend in the comics, and that is a little bit. It's going to be a little bit weird if, like, once we get to Miles Morales down the road, because it seems they're hinting that eventually they're probably going to get that way. They will. Like, these movies are going to go on for ages. They're going to come to a time when Tom Holland is either doesn't want to do it anymore, or they just want to introduce another character.
Yeah.
So we're going to get to that point. It'll be a little bit awkward if and then like, hey, I'm Miles Morales, and I've also got a fat Asian friend who's kind of awkward like me. Yeah, it's like that's kind of a bummer, but he's good. The problem I have with him is the same kind of problem I have with Genki in the comics. So if I was to just assume that he is this Genki character and Ned Lee's only a name, there's similar problems that I have with that character. So they've been faithful to that kind of character, but the problems I have are similar. Like, he's
what are your problems? Yeah.
He's too like, oh, you need to tell everyone this thing, and
Yeah, that was a bit much, I'll admit.
it was a little bit of like, I don't know, but the only way that it gets away with it is that they all do look like children. So he's thinking about this like a child. Well, like
Yeah.
Peter Parker has had to like, he's
been doing this for a little bit. He hasn't been doing it forever, but he's been doing it long enough to know
been
that
doing
I
it for
can't
about 8
tell.
months. 8 months now.
Yeah.
So like,
And he's been doing it long enough to know I can't go out just saying this to people. This is
Yeah.
something I have to keep a secret.
mm,
Because if my aunt knows, she will flip.
mm.
And if people know if my enemies know who I am, they're gonna know who I care about.
That's true. So yeah, I think the supporting characters were pretty good. I liked Michelle Zendaya's character.
Yes.
Michelle. She was
She didn't have a humongous role.
It wasn't a big role, but she was a snarky presence throughout the film. She got a lot of
and I feel like
good comedic timing.
I feel like almost all of her lines got a laugh.
And there are a lot of small elements in this movie, a lot of little Easter eggs that I'll get into when we get to spoilers. I'll get to one that doesn't spoil the film, but it's a nice thing to look out for. The principal character, he's played by an actor who's been in the MCU before. He was actually one of the Howling Commandos in Captain America: The First Avenger. And so, but in his office, you see a picture of him like as his grandfather, and there's like a kind of a blurry picture that looks to be kind of a picture of the Howling Commandos.
So it may be an Easter egg that he was actually the grandson of the guy who.
Yeah,
was with
it's a
them.
nice little Easter egg of like, oh, that's how you're getting away with that. That's neat. So I thought that was real neat. That was a nice little touch. There's lots of little touches. Everything like it feels very much set in the MCU and a kind of.
Well, I feel like that's very
extension.
much a trademark of the MCU, having
Mm.
all these just little Easter eggs scattered throughout that just kind of complete the world. Like freaking Ben Ulrich's office in Daredevil, having all the newspaper articles about like
the
incident
and Battle of New York,
yeah,
incident in Harlem. Yeah, there's like a lot of
yeah.
things that
And it's
have
just
happened.
small things that you don't even need to realize,
Mm.
but if you do realize them, it just oh yeah, this is a world. All these events happen to all of them.
It's a nice touch. And it's nice to kind of see, be like a little bit removed from like the big events of the MCU, especially in a movie. Like in TV, we've done it a little bit, like here and there. But it's nice in the movies to have that kind of one step removed. Like there's still that connection because Tony Stark is Tony Starking about in his movie.
Yeah.
But it's nice to have that one step back of like, what is the world like reacting to all these crazy things that are going on? It's like, oh, okay, it's a little hints and nods here. That's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice.
So you just said something that you had a bit of a nitpick about. I have a little nitpick as well.
Okay, yeah.
Like you could kind of tell this from the trailers as well. That I felt at points like they focused a bit too much on all the cool things the suit Tony Stark gave him, all the cool things it can do, and it kind of, I wouldn't say you forgot, but it can take a bit more of the limelight than Peter's actual superpowers. Did you feel that way, or is that just a me thing?
I feel like that was a plot element and a choice. So if you have a problem with that, you're having a problem with the choices they made. I wouldn't say. Yeah, I kind of liked it because it was them. Because it's not the origin story that we've seen, but this is like, okay, we've already seen like the origin story of like, oh, with great power must great come
bit by a spider, whatever.
With great power must come great responsibility. Yeah, we've already seen that before. We've seen Uncle Ben die too many times now. So what's like a new and different way, like within the MCU, we can have like an origin kind of growth, coming of age story with this character. All right. So he comes in and he gets the new suit. He gets all these new abilities, and he has to kind of like learn. It's kind of like just be himself and rely on himself. So it's him kind of like, all right, well, I've got all these new things, and he gets too focused on the gadgets and trying to be an Avenger and trying to be Iron Man.
I know that, like the reason they were focusing on the gadgets or whatever, because he's had his strength and whatever for a while, so he's adapted to it. It's just a thing for him now.
Also, look at it this way. We've had 5 Spider-Man movies now before this one, and it's always just been a webbing. It's nice to see something a little different. It's nice to see all these different things that web shooters can do.
I'm not saying I don't think they should have had it all. Because it felt like there were a lot of things that were very, very heavy on the suit. And like, I feel like
we never
used his strength in the movie, but I don't think there was any actual fights where he used the strength.
Well, because he's not a strength guy, and I don't mean he is strong, but like he's not trying to go out there and be like, hey, I'm super strong, I'm gonna punch you. That's not his thing. He's either trying to rescue people or he's trying to tie up criminals. He
does do close combat stuff though.
He does do close, but he's not trying to kill people.
Yeah.
And there is there's
but
a
still,
lot of
he wants to at least concuss them.
I wouldn't say he wants to concuss them. He just wants them to stay down. That's why he's always webbing people up, tying them up.
If you want to stay down with like brute force, just whack him in the head.
Well, he's not Daredevil. He's not out there like punching him into the face, and he's tying him up. When you see like a Spider-Man villain left for the police, they look a bit sullen because they're tied up. But you see a Daredevil villain left for the police, there's a bloody mess.
True.
So it's a bit different.
I don't know.
In their
These
styles.
are whack to the head though, and they're not getting up.
Yeah,
whack in the right place in the head.
I don't think that's him. He's not a violent guy.
No.
No. And I do like there's just so many moments where like I think they never lose focus on who Peter is as a person. Like they do have those moments where like he's trying out like what the suit can do, but like that's him. That's his scientific curiosity about these new tools that he has in his possession. So it's like, oh, okay, well let's go through them. That's his like scientific process of like, all right, this suit can do some things. I've got a little time. There's a point in the movie where he's stuck somewhere for a little bit. So, he goes through the suit powers, and that's nice. I thought that was a nice way to kind of explore them a little bit.
Do you feel like in the future there's going to be a subplot about his parents?
I don't.
Or do you think after
so.
The Amazing Spider-Man 2 they're like, we don't need to do that?
It's never really been a big thing. I feel like not in the comics I've read of Spider-Man. It's not super interesting. I say in the second film there might be a little bit more mention of Uncle Ben.
Yeah, because they didn't really mention Uncle
No, there was.
he mentioned that Aunt May's been through a lot of things and he doesn't want to like add to it, but that was the closest mention he got.
We haven't
to.
talked about Aunt May a lot. I feel like she didn't have a strong presence in this movie, but they did manage to still convey a couple of things, especially Marissa Tomei. I think in the couple of scenes she has, they do convey a couple of things. Like there's hints of that Uncle Ben kind of tragedy, and if you have that kind of context in the back of your head, I feel like it makes her performance a little better because it's someone who's
been through a tragedy
and is dealing with it, but you can kind of see in the back of her eyes she's not dealing with it super well.
Yeah, well, because she lost her, her sibling and lost her husband. Peter's all she has left. Peter's all she has left.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why he's like, I don't want Aunt May to know because I'm all she has left. And I don't want her to have that kind of worry.
Oh, another thing I really like is that the interactions that they have, they're nice to each other. Like, it's not this kind of like
It feels like an actual loving relationship between family members.
Yeah, it's not this grandson-grandchild thing that was kind of in the Sam Raimi films.
Yeah, it was very much like
sullen kind of fuck you mom kind of attitude in the Amazing Spider-Man films. Like he's
it was a loving, respectful relationship.
Yeah, they
loved each other.
They loved each other. Yeah, and it was nice to see.
Yeah,
that was nice to see. And I feel like people have been getting too up. It's like, oh, Aunt May could be up. They make some jokes in the film about it.
Yeah, they do make some jokes in the film because they know that Marissa Tomei, she's quite attractive.
She's still got it.
She's got it.
Yeah.
She's got it. And like from the very first time she was there, Tony Stark was like, "Ooh, she's attractive."
But yeah, it was a good film. I'm trying to think of like things I want to say that are bad before we get into spoilers. Yeah, I thought the Ned Lee's character was kind of too much a little bit, being Genki, and there was some character moments I'm like, you're getting a little bit in the way here. I'd say slight pacing issues. It felt long at times, but I was always enjoying myself. But it was times where I was like, man, this movie's been going for a while, and
it was over 2 hours.
Yeah, that's a problem I have with.
I feel like
most
Spider-Man
movies these
doesn't
days.
need to be over 2 hours.
No,
like other superhero movies, like Civil War and stuff, they need to be over 2 hours. But Spider-Man, he doesn't need to be over 2 hours. But
I feel like he also took his mask off a little too much for someone who's so preoccupied with his secret identity. Seems like he gets on top of a building and he's like, oh, mask off, and it's like
I kind of did feel that, but I feel like at the same time that was Marvel.
That was fine.
Trying to capitalize on. Oh, look at Tom
Holland can express well, so I was okay with that. I feel like there were one or two moments where they did a joke where they could have done sincerity instead, and that would have been fine. But when they did need to be sincere,
Marvel do that quite a bit though. Like sometimes they didn't need a joke there.
When they did need to be sincere, there's a lot of moments where Tom Holland gets to actually act sincere and be a sincere character. So yeah, overall, Tom Holland fucking nails it. This is the Spider-Man that we've been waiting for. He's so good. You see things that haven't been done in previous Spider-Man films, not just with the connection to the MCU, but how they handle the character, how he's portrayed, how he moves about the city. Things we haven't seen before. Supporting characters, pretty good. I liked the school. I liked all the students. I liked all the teachers. We had a lot of kind of
Hannibal Buress. He was one of the teachers.
Yeah, he's in these. It's a kind of a guest appearance. He's only in like 2 or 3 scenes.
Yeah, not a lot.
Yeah, a lot of teachers they jump in and out and then like, oh yeah, I know who that person is. Oh, I know who that person is. They're from this TV show. I know who that person is. They're from that TV show.
Yeah, there's
a lot of TV actors.
There was a couple of people from Orange is the New Black in this.
Yeah, there's 2 people from Orange is the New Black. There's the guy who Guilfoyle from Silicon Valley. He's in here. So yeah, there's a lot of TV actors playing the teachers, and that's nice, and they all get nice comedic moments. I like the kind of... How did you feel about Flash Thompson being kind of like more of a verbal bully than like this hulking? He wasn't punching Spider-Man in the face, but he was, calling him names and stuff throughout the whole film.
I'd like... this is gonna sound weird to say, but I
Mm.
like the idea of like an ethnic bully, because you don't see it a lot in real life or in, movies, comic books.
No, but I liked him. I thought I was gonna hate him, but there was never a point in the movie where I was like, ugh. I was just kind of like, no, I'm okay
I
with
feel
this.
like he was the kind of bully who was just like, oh, we're just joking around, Peter, and he'll pretend to be his friend later on,
Mm.
which is like, that's the worst kind of bully, the one who will call you names and whatever, then come up and try to talk to you like they're your friend.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to spoilers. What rating would you give this?
I'd give it a solid 9 out of 10. This is the best Spider-Man movie.
I was thinking 9.
This is a great addition to the MCU.
a great
Honestly,
movie.
Sony doesn't know what the fuck they have. I don't think they realize like how good this movie is. They need to like reorganize their priorities. They need to stop trying to do their own thing and just let Marvel do it, because obviously Marvel, they know a Spider-Man. They know how to handle a Spider-Man.
I just hope Tony. I hope Sony don't get too big a heads from this and feel like, oh, we're going to take Spider-Man all back to ourselves now. Haha, not yours anymore.
Yeah, they really need to not do that, because he's in a good place now.
Yeah.
He's in a good place.
Yeah. So let's get into spoilers.
Let's get into spoilers. Okay.
That big reveal that Michael Keaton, the Vulture, was Liz's father all along.
Was he a stepfather? Because his last name is Toombs, and her last name is Allen. I'm pretty sure it's Liz Allen. Was there a stepfather situation?
The names, if I'm being honest.
That's because I know the names from the comics. I don't know if they said them in the movies.
Well, if they didn't really say them in the movies, then maybe we don't really know if that's it or not. Who knows?
They never really do say it. I'm pretty sure it's Liz Allen. But yeah, that was a nice reveal. I think I heard somewhere that Zendaya was supposed to be his daughter, and that I was watching the movie thinking like,
that would have made less sense.
I don't know. She was always following him around. It could have been like this twist thing where it was kind of
like, if the twist was that she was working with him all along, I would have really liked that.
Yeah, that would have worked for me. But yeah, I didn't.
The
see
twist
this
that
one.
he was into her and he was on a date with her when he realized. Then he had to sit in that car ride, and just the way he methodically worked out that Peter was Spider-Man just by the conversation. That we've never seen Peter and Spider-Man in the same room at the same time. He must. That was pretty much it. That was the process
and
of
it was him
elimination.
just listening to his voice is like, I've heard this voice before. Where was that Spider-Man? You that motherfucking Spider-Man.
Yeah, my jaw kind of dropped when he opened the door.
Mm.
I was just like, because we were having a fun time. There was a fun montage. May was helping him get ready for his date. It was cute. Then fun music. Like, I'm having a good time. I opens the door, and then the music just cuts. I almost heard the record scratch.
That was nice. What other spoilers? So Tony Stark is not in this movie a lot,
Which is good.
It's good. It was like I was a little worried that this would be like he would come in and he'd take over the film.
I was worried right up till the very end that during Peter's final fight, Tony Stark was going to show up and finish it off for him. Like, no, he needs to finish this off by himself.
They made the right decision. Like Peter finished his own fight. That was nice. I liked that. I don't know where I was going, but yeah, it was very much like from Peter's perspective. Like Tony's in there a little bit, but then he's in there at the start, where he's like showing him out the door, and he's like, "Hey, just be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man." And then we're following Peter, and we're following Peter for a long time before we see Tony again. And like there's mention of him because like there's the Stark.
I feel like there's 3 proper scenes with Tony Stark in it.
That's good. I'm good. That's a good amount for me.
Now let's talk about one of my favorite scenes in the movie. Donald Glover scene.
Oh, yeah. So Donald Glover is playing Aaron Davis. Is that? I don't know why I asked you.
I shrugged. Yeah, but no.
But yeah, he's playing Miles Morales' uncle, which there's a nice little reference for in a way. They don't say his name, but there's a scene where like he's like, I don't want these crazy weapons in this neighborhood. I've got a nephew here. It's like, Miles Miles Morales. Yes.
And I really liked it because it was like he wasn't a good guy, but at the same time he wasn't a terrible guy. He's just doing what he needed to do to make.
I feel like there was also a lot of shade being thrown at a Green Arrow type show, because there were, especially the CW. I feel like this movie was throwing a lot of shade, sort of like love shade, because like there was a certain sense to this movie that they kind of love those kind of style of shows and were making fun of them a little bit, because like when he goes into that scene, he's doing the interrogation mode, and he's got the kind of the suit gives him a Batman voice, and Donald Glover's just like, no, what the hell are you doing?
Girl's voice, that easy interrogation voice. I'm not a girl.
I'm a boy. I mean a man. That was good. And
then Donald Glover literally goes to him, "You need to get better at this part of the job."
I like that he was very much not about killing anyone. Like when the suit was like, giving you kill options.
Instant kill mode. No.
What? No, I'm not killing anyone. I'm gonna go in there, web him up. Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That was good. I liked that he was, he went through the school. He was investigating things. He was using he was a goddamn detective in this movie almost.
Yeah, he used his smarts. Because I feel like in the other Spider-Man movies, how smart he was kind of like a bit of a throwaway thing.
It was dependent on the scene and whether he was smart or not.
Yeah,
and
in this, he was kind of always smart.
Now, there are moments where like he has to do like something like Ned will be pushing him and say, "Hey, you should do this thing. Like you should show up at the party dressed as Spider-Man." He's considering it, but he's always.
See, it's kind of that fight between him being smart, but him being a teenager.
Yeah, so there's
no matter
hormones.
How smart you are, you're still a teenager, and teenagers are inherently always going to make bad decisions.
They are always going to make bad decisions. There's this hormone saying, "Oh, you need to do this, impress the girl, go there, you're Spider-Man." Ooh, like, oh yeah, I'm a Spider-Man. Then there's the other part. It's like, this is real stupid. This is dumb. This isn't gonna help me at all. This is just Ned wants to be cool. He's friends of this cool thing. He wants to have that.
And he kind of wanted that as well.
Yeah, but. Yeah, no, it was these two people. It was like, he was like, I want to be hanging out with the Avengers, or hanging out with Iron Man. I want to be doing that. And then, he's also got his friend. It's like, well, he hasn't got that, but he has got Spider-Man. It's like, everyone should know you're Spider-Man. Everyone should know that I'm friends with Spider-Man. There's this kind of jealousy, kind of selfishness attitude to it. But they've both got it.
But then again, if you were friends with Spider-Man, you'd want to talk about it.
Yeah, but like, there's another part of me is like, I'm real keen on secret identities. That's good.
Yeah.
That's because I've read comic books now, so I know. So I'm like, yeah, man, secret identities. I like that he kind of wants like, hey, I could be your guy in a chair. It's like, I could be your sister Ramon.
I love that thing, your guy in a chair. Cause that was very much what, like you said just before. I kind of dig at the CW, like.
But yeah, in the end, he got to do that a little bit. So,
and he was literally got so excited. He was like, "Guy in the chair" to himself.
Yeah, the humor in this movie is pretty good. Like there are a couple of jokes that I could see coming, and some that felt a little.
There was
flat.
one that really, like, I think we all saw coming. I said it to you.
Yeah.
A second before the guy said it, because like. After that shit happened in Washington on a field trip, the teacher was like, we couldn't lose a student on a field trip." Then there was a pause, and I went to you, "Not another one." And then almost right on cue, he goes, "Not another one."
Yeah, it was like, but that's the obvious joke you kind of make there, and it's like, okay, otherwise
we've heard
you gotta
that,
make it.
We've heard that joke before, but it's like it worked in the circumstance.
Yeah, I liked that, like, he would interact with people, or people would see him, like that scene where like he's just kind of standing on top of a building. Like, that's something you never talk about in superhero movies, where like people are standing on top of a building and someone looks up, it's like, "Hey, are you that guy?" It's like, "Are you a Spider guy?" "Yeah, I'm Spider-Man." "I mean, do a backflip." Does a backflip. Woo!
Yeah. I feel like you and me would be those guys on the ground, like, "Hey, Spider-Man, do a
backflip." Yeah, that I appreciated that quite a bit.
And we'd also be the Spider-Man guy, who's literally credited in the credits as Spider-Man guy.
Yeah, that guy's good. I really enjoyed this movie. I was worried because so many good reviews. I'm thinking like, oh, I'm gonna find things to nitpick about it. I'm gonna hate it. My brain is just gonna fuck me over, and I'm not gonna have a good time. But I know I had a good time.
Yeah.
This was a good movie.
Those fucking Captain America instructional tapes.
Oh, those are so good. Apparently they filmed like hundreds of those, and I cannot wait to see all of them because those were great. So one of the after credit scenes is literally him saying
The
like,
very end one.
sometimes you wait so long for things, you learn patience, and it never seems to live up to the hype. And it was
And it was like, it was pretty much a dig at all of us who sat to the very end of the credits. And then he goes, how many more of these? And you could tell that was just Chris Evans literally asking the director, how many more of these do I have to do?
yeah. No, that was great. I also loved that they put him in like the Avengers era costume. So that must be like something like right around that time. Shield were like, all right, we've got you back. You know, we need to make a little bit of revenue here. Do you mind doing these PA announcements so we can get some good press on this whole Avengers thing? It's like, all right, I'm Captain America. I guess I'll do it. I loved all of that.
And he's got a camera in his face, like, what is this?
Also, there was another. It was a small joke, but I really liked it. In the video, he's doing like the Captain America thing, and he points to his left, and is like, the coach here, and Hannibal Buress is standing on the right, and it's just like, hey, it's like, I like
then
that
at
because
the end, after the video's done, Hannibal Buress goes, thanks, Captain.
I think he's a war criminal now, but whatever.
Hannibal Buress, I loved that he was in this.
He didn't get a lot to do, but I liked his presence. I liked
he didn't
him
need a
there.
lot to do.
Mm.
You know, he was. I feel like he was exactly happy with what he got.
This was such a good film. I feel like, have I already talked that this is like the first Spider-Man film to like have a scene not set in New York?
Yeah, well, you mentioned that in the cinemas, but you didn't mention it on here.
No, but like, I feel like it's so interesting how this is a film that manages to make New York a character within the film. I think that hasn't been done since maybe Spider-Man 1. Because that one had to make New York a kind of a character because
a very orange character.
Woo!
Thanks to those early
But it was
2000s color palettes.
But yeah, it was that post 9/11 thing, and that's what America needed. Like a New York was like, yeah, get out of here, Green Goblin. We all stand together. We're with you, Spider-Man. Woo! New York.
They needed that.
They needed that. I will forever let them have that. It's like, oh, it's so weirdly American and patriotic. It's like, no, Aiden. New York needs this.
Yeah.
Let them have it. I'm like, that's.
Oh, so you want to get into
that.
a few more Easter eggs? Because there was an Easter egg.
Yeah, there was some Easter eggs in here. You want to get into them?
Yeah, let's get right into them.
Yeah. What'd you see?
What did I see? Fuck. Oh, put me on the spotlight. I know you had some. You go.
Oh, okay. I've talked about Miles Morales, and I've talked about
Miles Morales,
the Captain America thing. Oh, spider traces. We get some spider traces in this movie.
There was.
He's got a little.
We got a reference that Tony Stark has made Captain America a new shield.
Yeah, there was talk about a new shield. So
it was a throwaway line,
but that
could mean a lot because last time we saw Captain America, Tony Stark made him give the shield back because they were fighting. But now we hear Tony Stark made him a new shield, so they're talking again.
Yeah, or if they're not talking again, he's at least making things just to like. He's a tinkerer. He might be tinkering around and making things, just in case his friend comes back. You know, I feel like.
Yeah, well, he got that. You know, the letter at the end of Civil War where Steve was very much just like, if you ever need me, just call me and I'll be there. Because even though we fought, I still consider you a friend, even if you don't consider me that right now. Well, that was the underlying tone.
Yeah,
you're my friend, even if you don't feel like I'm your friend right now.
Yeah.
I'll be there when you need to call me.
We have a disagreement, but I'm still down to clown if shit goes south.
Yeah, no, you miss a golden opportunity to say down to clown if shit goes down.
Down to clown if shit goes down.
You missed that golden opportunity.
I did. I feel ashamed of myself right now.
Well, you let me make the joke, so I'm appreciative for that.
Enjoy that, good sir.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think like what other Easter eggs we're getting here. The taser webbing. That's something that he has had in like the more recent Spider-Man comics. When he's like Peter Parker of Parker Industries, the CEO, traveling around the world, doing crazy shit. He's got a lot of kind of webs that do different things. So he's got like taser webbing. He's got like kind of more rubber webbing. So he's got more of that kind of stuff in there. I like that. I like those little references.
Yeah, right at the end.
Right at the end, we get a kind of version of the Iron Spider suit.
A lot less lame.
A lot less lame. Yeah, I don't know if I've ever said it on this podcast, but I've said it to you that I've always found that kind of red and gold look to be a bit Moorish, but garish. It's not for me. I like a red and blue. I like a classic.
Spider-Man's red and blue.
Yeah.
Because Spider-Man, he really represents America in a way when you really get down to it.
Yeah.
So he kind of always has to be that red and blue, like their flag.
No, I liked it.
Like he doesn't represent America as much as Captain America does, because fucking Captain America.
He's Captain Goddamn America. Yeah.
If you get down to Spider-Man's values and what he stands for, and just the way the films are, really, it's a very American thing, and it's very patriotic in a way. But I won't get too into that. But I'm sure you'll know what I mean. And maybe some people listening are having "Oh yeah, you're right" moments.
Pepper Potts makes a little cameo right at the end as well. Yeah,
and
that was nice to see.
And she kisses Tony Stark because they're back together.
They're back together.
So they really only broke up because she couldn't do Civil War. That's really the only reason they broke up.
But I liked that element in it. It's like that's him like trying to get her back. It added a nice element that she wasn't there. Like,
yeah,
if she was there, it would have been like I'm worried about you. You could have had some nice conversations, but it was this kind of. It added this nice kind of moment of vulnerability for Tony Stark in that movie. Yeah.
At the same time, though, it was really just Gwyneth Paltrow couldn't do the movie. They wrote.
I feel like it worked in the movie's favor.
It did add something to it, though. Maybe happy accident.
And it's nice to see them kind of back together, kind of working things out a little bit here.
Though, how great would it have been if Tony Stark actually did get with Aunt May?
Nah.
I would have liked it. I would have liked to see it.
No.
I don't know if it would have panned out well, but I would have liked to have seen it.
I don't want that. I did like there was a moment when he kind of like Tony has to like figure out a way. This Spider-Man, he's made a mature decision. He doesn't want to be the Iron Spider. Doesn't want to go over this press conference. I guess I'll just marry you. That's what I'll do. And I liked. It's like, hey, Happy, you got a ring? It's like, oh, I've had this since 2008. That's like a nice little. I feel like that's a nice thing of like Jon Favreau saying like, hey, I've wanted to put these two characters together since I made that first Iron Man movie. I feel like that was a nice kind of meta moment.
I feel like you and me were laughed at that, and no one else did.
We get a lot of kind of references to different like things that have happened within the MCU. Just because Adrian Toomes, his kind of crew of people there, they scrap and take stuff from big Avengers fights.
Yeah, we didn't really talk about how the way all the villains fit in together, because they all fit in together because all these villains were kind of just part of his crew.
Yeah, and that really works. Like we've seen like criminal gangs before, and just fitting them all into that kind of one thing, that's really nice. I like that moment where like he kind of disintegrates one of the shockers, and he's like, wait, I thought that was the anti-gravity gun. It's like, no. It's like, shit. Okay, nope. I've committed to it now. He's disintegrated. You're the shocker now. Yeah. That was a nice moment.
Kind of passes the title. And that's like the first kind of small instance we've seen of like mantles being passed. So, maybe that's a little thing for in the future. Like, Captain America will become someone else.
I feel like there's a lot of, while this movie flows really well and it's really nice, there's a lot of deleted scenes that I think we didn't get to see in this movie.
There was one part in the trailer where there was Iron Man.
Spider-Man's like swinging and Iron Man's flying right next to him. That was only in the trailer. That's not in the film. That never happened. I remember seeing some behind-the-scenes set photos of like a shocker, like a full shocker costume with like a mask and everything. Didn't get to see that in this movie.
There was actually pictures of that, because I remember concept art of that, but I don't remember pictures.
I remember seeing like pictures of like on set someone in that costume, so we didn't get to.
Maybe they decided it looked dumb.
I think it looked okay. It looked all right.
I don't remember it, so I don't remember if it looked dumb or not.
It looked like the Shocker, so like it looked all right. But yeah, that didn't end up in the movie. I think that's all I can think of top of my head. But yeah, there was a couple of kind of like Rogue One-ish moments where you're like, I thought this was supposed to be okay. It's not. All right, it's fine. So
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe
was okay.
re-edits and stuff.
Yeah, I liked the tone, the music that was selected for the movie. I like that they had that kind of punk rocky kind of vibe playing the Ramones, and at the end you get that cool credit sequence where it's all that kind of claymation, and then it goes into kind of animation thing. That was cool. That gave it this kind of like DIY feel to it that I felt was real nice. I really enjoyed this movie. I had a good time. This is the funniest and the most. Oh, another thing. So every other Spider-Man movie, there's a blubbery crying face and there's a funeral. No funerals. This movie, no funerals.
There was a crying face, but I wouldn't call it a blubbery crying face.
No, it was a serious moment, and I really appreciated that in that moment where like he has to have that kind of like, I'm Spider-Man, I can do this. I really felt like Tom Holland really sold that. Like it could have been.
Oh yeah.
It could have been so cheesy, and they could have like pulled a Doctor Strange where like he has that moment where like he puts on the cape and like it starts playing with his face, and it's like, oh, it undercut the emotion of the scene by being kind of playful with it. No, there wasn't that moment. Like when they needed to get serious, when they needed to have a serious moment, they could do it.
Yeah, they didn't need. Cause I feel like that's what they did with Doctor Strange and the cape thing. It's a very man thing.
Yeah.
Because if you think about being a man, it's just like you're starting to feel emotions, you're starting to get sad, you're starting to cry, then you'll just like make a dumb joke.
Yeah.
At least that's what I do. When my emotions are getting the better of me, I'll make a dumb joke. I've made dumb jokes in many situations. I probably shouldn't have made dumb jokes in the past.
It seems to have been the kind of go-to attitude of Marvel a lot in a lot of these films. But I like that they stuck to. Oh, there was that nice. I'm just trying to remember the movie now because we just saw it, but like I'm still processing it. There's that nice moment where he's trying to follow a van and he like ends up in like a park and like he goes to like use his web, but there's nothing around.
Nothing there.
It's like a big old golf course where like he shoots it out and it goes to nothing, and he's like, oh shit, and he just has to run through a golf course.
I'm glad they had that scene because never before have they shown Spider-Man in like an open area where he's got nothing to swing off.
It was nice to see him in the suburbs, kind of just like, I guess
he has to run.
You know, I had that nice kind of Ferris Bueller's Day Off kind of moment where they kind of referenced that. That was pretty nice. I liked that he would ride around on like the top of trucks or on the top of trains.
Because
like he wasn't
that
always
is more
swinging around.
logical.
Yeah, and
it is faster.
Not only is it faster, like you get tired.
He's
just a kid.
It makes sense. It's more logical. I mean, yeah, he's a kid with like superhuman abilities, but it's like you don't want to be swinging all the way from Washington D.C. to Maryland. I'm not sure how far that distance is. I think it's just one state over, but still.
Yeah, I don't think it wasn't too far away. No, I liked damage control. I thought they weren't really super big characters. They had like that one big scene.
But they were really the things that set in motion the character of the Vulture.
Yeah. I enjoyed this movie. It added depth and layers to the MCU that I didn't even realize it really needed.
Very true.
It's such a stark contrast between seeing just any of these other MCU characters like Thor. He's off-world. He's not really like. There's no human aspect to him. There's human traits to him, but like, you know, he doesn't have to deal with like rent or
school,
like, human responsibilities.
Bullies.
Yeah. Doctor Strange, he was like this fucking millionaire surgeon. Like he's an adult. He's made adult decisions. You know, this was a nice opportunity just to see a superhero catching a train, like in a train, like looking kind of awkward, like a normal person. It was so refreshing.
Yeah, because there's just so much to this universe now. You've got all out in fucking space with Guardians of the Galaxy. You've got going to other realms with Thor. You've got other universes, parallel dimensions with Doctor Strange. You've got Tony Stark, who's this billionaire weapons maker. Well, he was a weapons maker. And you've got your fucking... Who else have we got?
That's the other thing I
like. Captain America, who's from the fucking past.
Yeah, he's time traveled via
Ice Cube.
By Ice Cube. I have a surefire way to travel into the future. All you do is take a super soldier serum, get stuck in some ice. Someone will throw you out. Bam! 65 years in the future.
Go by like it was no time at all.
Yeah, so like we've seen, Spider-Man being a normal person, but even just like this year, the superhero films that we've had so far, Logan, it's this kind of dystopian future. Like he's a broken person, is dealt with so much emotion. Guardians of the Galaxy, it's off
Out
in
in
space.
very
Wonder Woman,
fantastical and
it's
colorful.
World War One, and then Themyscira. It's nice just to see a guy,
Just in New
go
York.
into a bodega, getting a sandwich.
And not a lot in this film feels larger than life.
Mm.
Because especially everything we've seen this year, and just superhero stuff in general, a lot of it feels larger than life. But you almost get the feeling in this that this Spider-Man could almost exist in our world.
It was the Spider-Man from YouTube. That's how people kept remembering him. It wasn't like, oh, there's Spider-Man. It was like, oh, you're the Spider-Man from YouTube.
Yeah.
Like,
So you almost feel like he could exist in our world. Like these Iron Man, Captain America, Guardians of the Galaxy, Doctor Strange, they could not exist in our world.
no.
But just the way it was filmed and the way the story was structured and the way they just showed the city and how he lived and him as a person, his interactions with other people, it felt the most real of any superhero stuff I've seen in a long time.
It did. It was
Not that I don't like this larger than life
it's so
stuff.
weird
That's
to think like 6 Spider-Man films in, we're finally like saying like, oh man, finally a nice refreshing take. But it was.
Yeah. Well, it's just refreshing to see it so down to earth and so like real.
It's so down to earth.
Like, not that I don't love this larger than life stuff. Like, that's why we fucking love superheroes, because they're larger than life. It takes us into this world which is big and fantastical and
Like
it's fun.
he's dealing with some larger than life situations, but it feels like a real person dealing with those larger than life situations. A real, like, an actual kid. He's, he goes to stop some criminals in a bank, and he doesn't just walk in and be like, haha, I've caught you, criminals. He like walks in, they haven't seen him yet, and he's like trying to figure out, okay, am I going to pose? Am I going to say something?
See him, like,
there's an
adjusting his pose.
unsurety in his actions of like, oh God, all right, this is what I'll do.
See, I feel like the next time we see him, because the next time we'll see him,
He's only going to get more confident from here, and
well,
that's
next
fine.
time we'll see
I want to
him-
see growth. I want to
if this
see
is-
him change.
if this is just after Civil War, this is 2016. And next time we'll see him will be Infinity Wars, which I'm pretty sure will be set in 2018. So that'll be a good 2 years of him being Spider-Man off camera. So I feel like we'll get a more confident Spider-Man. And I feel like all this cool stuff his suit can do, we'll see him confidently using it, knowing how to... So I feel like we'll get a more confident Spider-Man. Just like how next time we'll see Doctor Strange, we'll probably get a more Sorcerer Supreme Doctor Strange.
Yeah, he'll be much more competent. Yeah. No, I had such a good time with this movie. I don't know if I've made that clear enough, but
it was a great move. And
I don't know if this is my favorite superhero movie of the year.
We've had a lot of good ones.
We've had some good ones. We've still got Thor Ragnarok and Justice League, so they're kind of Hail Marys.
This year.
I still don't know if they're going to be good or not. I'm optimistic about Thor Ragnarok. I'm cautiously optimistic about Justice League.
Optimistic.
For Ragnarok, I'm thinking it might be good. Justice League, I'm hoping it's good.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
See, if Justice League is bad, I'm just gonna go ahead and say maybe DC just need to have all their films directed by women.
Maybe just give it all to Patty
maybe
Jenkins,
that's what they need.
Yeah.
Just
But I will say this: like every other year, we've had like a bunch of superhero films. I feel like it's been good, bad, okay. It's all been good this year.
Good.
We've had we're 4 for 4.
I mean, we've had various levels of good, because we've gone from good to fucking fantastic.
But they've all been like, you come out of the theater going like, that was a good time. Like,
It's
Logan,
all been a 7
real
out of 10
good.
or higher.
Yeah.
It's all been 7 out of 10 or higher.
exactly. This is a good year. I didn't expect this year to be like you look at like the lineup like last year was like, oh, it's Captain America Civil War, Batman v Superman. It's all these big, loud, bombastic kind of superhero movies. This year it's been like here's the other people.
Yeah, I feel like the biggest event movie, which is a weird thing to say, but it's kind of a thing now. The only real event movie we're having this year is Justice League. And, event movies are usually the big ones, because if you remember, like, when the first Avengers movie came together, that was really the start of these big, superhero event movies. And it was a fucking event.
Yeah. This I'm hoping they continue the trend. But yeah, so far 4 for 4. Good year for superhero movies. I'm having a good time this year.
Yeah.
I'm having a good time.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we've about said.
Iron Fist was a little but we've got
we're
Defenders
talking about
coming
movies.
up.
We're talking about
Talking
movies.
about movies. Yeah, movies. It's been good.
Yeah. So
It's been a good year.
yeah. I think we've said all we can say.
Yeah. So, what did you think of Spider-Man Homecoming? Was it the knockout of the park, fresh take that you wanted for the character, or was it not quite as good as you hoped, or did you have serious problems with it? Let us know. We're on Facebook.
I mean, if you had serious problems with it, you're wrong. But let us know.
You're wrong, but I want to hear. I want to hear you argue your point. You know, if you feel like you've got a valid opinion that you can argue well,
you don't. But tell us.
you don't. But let us know, because maybe we'll see something from a different perspective. I won't, but maybe I will. You can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/PCMR Podcast. We're also on Twitter @PCMR Podcast. We have our own personal Twitter accounts. I'm at Aiden's Vlog, AIDANSVLOG.
I'm at MeMan125, spelled how it sounds.
Thank you for saying your catchphrase, you filthy piece of shit. We have an email, PCMRpodcast@gmail.com.
Feel free to email us and tell me how much of a filthy piece of shit.
#Brett is a filthy piece of shit. You can also find us on Instagram @PCMR Podcast. We have a website, PCMRpodcast.net.
Yeah, you'll find all our links and all the episodes and all our crap
we're on
there.
YouTube. We're on iTunes. Give us a subscribe.
Give us a rating.
Give us a rating. Give us a like.
Give us
on,
a
on
review,
YouTube.
a comment.
If you could leave us a review or give us those 5 stars, that does actually really help us out.
Yeah, and if I'll put this out there.
Mm.
If we get any reviews, let's read them on the show.
We'll read out your review.
Like,
Even if you
could make us say the stupidest shit and we will read it out.
We'll read it out. So you just gotta leave that 5 stars. We'll read it out if it's 5 stars. But like the review can say whatever you want. I don't honestly don't care about that. I just want to have them 5 stars.
Yeah,
So
I like me some stars.
yeah. So next week will probably maybe be news and then Baby Driver, I'd say.
Yeah. I feel like a news week than a Baby Driver week. 'Cause I feel like we're going to get back into the swing now. That we're going to have a movie week then a news week. Because there's a few movies coming out soon. With Baby Driver and Planet of the Apes. And
We've got some good stuff coming up. We're in for a treat, I say. That is soon as well. I would like to talk about that or at least see it. There's a lot
at least see it. Talk about it.
We're getting towards some good action movie season. Kingsman's coming up at some point.
Yeah,
I'm keen for that.
Dark Tower. It's
Dark Tower. Yeah,
I think it's August, September.
Have you ever read any of those Dark Tower books? Me neither.
No.
I'm interested.
I was talking to someone the other
interested
day who said they were real good. I can't remember who I was talking to, but I was talking to someone.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how they are. I'm curious.
Yeah.
So yeah,
But until then,
my name is Ben Aiden.
my name still is Brett. I got the fucking mosquito.
Ooh, did you get it?
No.
Oh no. Well, tune in next time to find out if Brett got that mosquito. All right, bye.